Each move in Pokemon is assigned a type. That's one factor that determines how much damage they deal when you use them. But some moves don't take typing into consideration, sort of. What's up, fellas? I'm Matt, and today we're gonna look at the moves that can deal typeless damage. Alright, let's get started.
What's up? I'm Elias, and Revelation Dance is Oricorio's signature move. By default, it's a normal move, but in practice, it matches the user's primary typing. Oricorio has 4 forms, and they all have a different primary type. That means that ordinarily, Revelation Dance can either deal fire, ghost, electric, or psychic damage, depending on which form you're using.
It's a pretty good move, just not the greatest. Revelation Dance is 90 power and 100% accurate, which puts it on par with Psychic, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt, and makes it slightly stronger than Shadow Ball. Unlike those moves though, Revelation Dance has no secondary effect. But Oricorio can't learn any other Ghost, Psychic, Electric, or Fire stab moves, so it uses Revelation Dance because it doesn't have a choice. Anyway, thanks to this move's mechanics, we can use it to cause some shenanigans.
If a Pokemon doesn't have any types, then Revelation Dance will deal typeless damage. The easiest way to make that happen is with Torchic. It's a pure fire type, which means that it can become typeless if it uses Burn Up. Torchic can't learn that move naturally, but it can learn Mirror Move, so if it gets hit by an opposing Burn Up, Torchic can use Mirror Move to copy it. This setup does require another Pokemon besides Torchic and the Oricorio on the opposite team, since Oricorio can't learn Burn Up either. Now that Torchic has used Burn Up to become typeless, your opponent can switch in Oricorio. Then, if Oricorio uses Revelation Dance, Torchic can use Mirror Move to copy that move too.
Since Torchic is typeless, Revelation Dance will be typeless too. That means it's neutral against everything. No Pokemon is weak to it, and no Pokemon resists it. That's the definition we'll be using for the rest of this video. A typeless Torchic also takes neutral damage from every incoming move. There are other ways to use a typeless Revelation Dance, but this method with Torchic is the simplest one. There's one other thing worth noting here. If a move is typeless, it'll never get stabbed under any circumstances, even if the user is also typeless.
Well, considering this is the simplest method, I don't want to know the other ones.
Fair enough.
Struggle is probably the most prominent typeless move. No Pokemon can naturally learn Struggle, but they all gain access to it if they don't have any usable moves. Oftentimes that happens if they run out of power points, but there are other ways to force a Pokemon to use Struggle.
As an example, the Choice Band, Choice Specs, and Choice Scarf lock you into one move till you switch out. If the move you choose is affected by Disable or Curse Body, you'll have to use Struggle until your move is re-enabled again. If a Choice item user is hit by Torment, they'll be forced to use Struggle every other round.
Imprison prevents the target from using moves it has in common with the user. So if a Pokemon uses Imprison on you and you have the exact same moveset, that'll force you into struggling yourself to death as well. There's about a million other ways to make your opponent use Struggle, but let's keep moving forward for now.
Struggle is a 50 base power move, and in most games it deals typeless damage, even though it's listed as normal type in the game's code. In Generation 1 though, Struggle is a normal type move in every respect. That means it's not very effective against rock types, and it doesn't work on ghost types at all. In fact, that makes it impossible to do a solo run of Gen 1 with either Caterpie or Metapod.
Their only other attacking move is Tackle, which is also normal type. That means they have no way to hit the ghost types in Lavender Town or the ones on Agatha's team in the Elite Four. If you waste your power points to use Struggle, you run into the same problem. That move can't hit ghosts either. Leave a comment if you're a fan of semicolons. Opposing Pokemon also don't use power points in Gen 1. That means they can use their moves as many times as they want, and they'll never be forced to use Struggle themselves. So as soon as Caterpie or Metapod enters a battle with a ghost, you've already lost. Sucks to suck. An ordinary Magikarp can't solo Gen 1 for the exact same reason, although there is an event Magikarp that knows Dragon Rage. With the help of that move, Magikarp can win with items in battle, or utterly ludicrous RNG.
Hey Elias, what do you think about semicolons?
I really like them.
We genuinely spent the next 2 minutes talking about semicolons. I'm just gonna skip all of it. But starting in Generation 2, Struggle acts typelessly, for the most part. A while back, a YouTuber named Snowy made a video about typeless damage in Gen 2, and the gist is that no moves act fully typelessly in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Struggle deals neutral damage to everything, meaning it can hit ghosts, and Rock and Steel types don't resist it. But in a few ways, Struggle is still treated as a normal type move.
There are held items in the game that raise the damage of each type of move. The Magnet boosts electric moves by 10%, the Sharp Beak boosts flying moves, and so on and so on. The normal type enhancing item in Gen 2 is the Pink Bow, although you're just gonna have to take my word for it that it's pink. There's no sprites of this item in the game. Anyway, the Pink Bow makes Struggle 10% stronger as well. This same idea also applies to the other quote-unquote typeless moves in Gen 2.
In Gens 2 through 4, Conversion 2 also treats Struggle as a normal type move. When the Porygon line uses Conversion 2, they consider the last attack that hit them and change their type to resist that move or outright become immune to it. So if you get hit by a ground type move, Conversion 2 will turn you into a bug, grass, or flying type at random. If you get hit by Struggle prior to Gen 5, Conversion 2 would make you a rock, steel, or ghost type, which are the types that resist normal. But in modern games, Struggle is treated as a properly typeless move, so it makes Conversion 2 fail outright. It'll also fail if the last move that hit you was a typeless Revelation Dance.
Since Struggle is no longer normal type, it's possible to beat the Kanto remakes with Caterpie, Metapod, and Magikarp. Now you have a way to hit all the ghosts in Fire Red, Leaf Green, and the Let's Go games. That being said, these Pokemon are still insanely weak, so it's nearly impossible to win without using items in battle.
Next video is gonna be, Elias beating Pokemon Fire Red with only a Caterpie.
Yeah, don't worry, it'll be a Caterpie that's level 100 and it knows, like, Draco Meteor or something.
Draco Meteor doesn't exist in Gen 3, try again.
I don't know, man, Dragon Pulse.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer. Future Sight used to be one of the worst moves in the game, and the fact that it dealt typeless damage was part of the reason why. Future Sight doesn't do anything on the turn you choose it, but deals damage 2 turns later. This is one of Elias's least favorite moves in the game.
I hate this move.
I don't think you've used it in more recent games.
No, I haven't.
Despite being listed as a Psychic-type move, it wasn't affected by type matchups in Gens 2 through 4, and Psychic-type Pokemon didn't get stabbed from it. On top of that, it was just weak and unreliable. It was 80 base power and 90% accurate, so you were better off using standard moves like Psychic.
In modern games, Future Sight is a lot more dangerous though, thanks to a bunch of buffs it's gotten over the years. In Gen 5, it became 100 power and 100% accurate, and it also deals Psychic-type damage. It was also buffed further to 120 power in Gen 6. Now the move does see some use on a handful of Pokemon, like the Slow Twins and Galarian Articuno.
By using Future Sight, you put a ton of pressure on your opponent, because on the turn Future Sight hits, you can use another attack of a different type. Your opponent is probably going to take big damage on that turn, no matter which Pokemon they have on the field. Dark types are immune to Future Sight now, and Steel types resist it, but you can deal a ton of damage to them anyway, by using a Fighting type move on the turn Future Sight is scheduled to hit. When Future Sight was typeless, this type of pressure didn't really exist, and the fact that it never got stabbed didn't help matters, so the buffs this move got are much appreciated.
Jirachi's signature move Doom Desire also hits 2 turns after it's selected, which makes it an upgraded version of Future Sight. Starting in Gen 5, it deals Steel-type damage, it's got 140 base power, and is 100% accurate. But similarly to Future Sight, Doom Desire was way worse when it was added in Gen 3. It was 120 power, 85% accurate, and typeless. So even though it hit pretty hard, it wasn't that great because you could wait 7.5 quadrillion years for it to do damage just for it to miss. Typeless damage is also not ideal compared to Steel-type damage.
Hey Elias, where do you see yourself in 7.5 quadrillion years?
Probably in a nebula, giving birth to new stars.
Wow, impressive career goals. Despite the massive buffs in Gen 5, Doom Desire still isn't the greatest move for Jirachi nowadays. That's because Iron Head is almost always going to be preferable. Jirachi has the ability Serene Grace, which doubles the chance for secondary effects to trigger. That gives you a 60% chance to make your opponent flinch each turn, which as far as I'm concerned is a war crime. You can even combine that with Body Slam, because Serene Grace boosts his paralysis chance from 30% to 60%. The paralysis also cuts your opponent's speed, which means Jirachi is way more likely to be faster, which gives it access to those insane flinch odds.
When you put it all together, a paralyzed opponent that gets hit with Iron Head will rarely even get to move. 60% of the time you'll flinch, and 10% of the time you'll be fully paralyzed when you don't flinch. It's pretty hard to get a game plan going when you only get 30% of your turns. So despite having balanced attacking stats and balanced everything stats for that matter, physical moves are better on Jirachi because they have better secondary effects. Doom Desire is a nice move on paper, but it doesn't synergize well with Jirachi's other tools.
Hello world. I was taking part in a little blackout poetry while Elias was reading that paragraph. I am a very kind friend.
He's not, he's a Yankees fan.
Wow! Beat Up was introduced in Gen 2, and despite being listed as a Dark-type move in-game, it also deals typeless damage, at least before Gen 5. But the same way Struggle is boosted by the Pink Bow in Gen 2, Beat Up is boosted by Black Glasses, the Dark-type boosting item. What you doing?
Oh, nothing. Sorry, I kind of forgot that you could see me mess around on the dock. Anyways, is it my turn?
No, it's still mine. You're fired, by the way.
Thank you.
This move has a ton of weird properties, so we might make a whole video about it at some point. But for today, let's go over the basics.
Beat Up is a multi-hit move, and each hit is 10 base power in Gens 2 through 4. The number of hits you get depends on how many healthy Pokemon are in your party. If they're conscious and don't have a status condition, they'll take part in the attack and contribute 1 hit. Anyway, that means this move can hit up to 6 times, maxing out at 60 power. Despite Dark-type moves being special before Gen 4, Beat Up has always dealt physical damage. Even before the physical special split, Beat Up used attack and defense stats to calculate its damage.
This move was completely overhauled in Gen 5. Now the game uses a more complex method to calculate each hit's base power, and it also deals dark damage. That means dark type Pokemon get stabbed from it, and type effectiveness is also taken into account. Beat Up is a pretty unusual attack, but it has seen some use competitively here and there. Leave a comment if you'd like to see a full video about this move. For more videos like this, subscribe to MEPlaysGames and consider becoming a channel member for as little as 99 cents a month. You can watch all these videos early as well as exclusive Let's Plays.
The most obscure typeless move though would have to be Weather Ball, because it can't be typeless in the vast majority of games. For example, it won't be typeless in Final Fantasy IX because it doesn't exist in that game. This move is ordinarily normal type, but if the weather is active, Weather Ball changes type to match it. It's a water type move in the rain, a fire move in the sun, and so on, forever and ever and ever. It also doubles in power from 50 to 100 during weather. There's one way for Weather Ball to become typeless, and it's only possible in one game, and that game is Sky.
Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness has an exclusive weather condition, Shadowy Aura. It can only be activated by Shadow Pokemon using the move Shadow Sky. Oh boy. Shadow's not gonna look like a real word to me in a second, is it? Well, anyway, Shadowy Aura works kinda like a hybrid version of the other weathers. During Shadowy Aura, non-Shadow Pokemon take chip damage at the end of each turn, kind of like how Sand and Hail work. Shadow moves are boosted by 50%, similar to the boost you get under Sun and Rain.
Weather Ball is also affected by Shadowy Aura. If you use the move under these conditions, it'll double in power like any other weather, but it'll deal typeless damage. Once again though, this move is treated as normal type in some respects. Kecleon's got a signature ability in the form of color change. That makes it change types to match whatever move hit it last. If Kecleon is hit with Mud Slap, it'll become ground type, Psybeam will make it psychic type, and so on and so on. Normally, if Kecleon is hit by a typeless move like Struggle or typeless Revelation Dance, color change simply won't activate. But if it gets hit by a shadowy Weather Ball, Kecleon becomes normal type. You can mod in Pokemon in Skyrim and teach it Weather Ball, and it will be typeless because there are no types in Skyrim.
There's one other mechanic that involves typeless damage. If you get poisoned or burned, the damage you take is a set percentage of your HP, but confusion damage is calculated with the regular damage formula. If you take damage from confusion, the game makes you use a 40 base power typeless move against yourself, but in certain games, confusion damage is affected by type boosting items.
In Generation 2, the items that boost confusion damage depend on what move you select. If you're holding a charcoal, for example, it'll boost your fire type moves by 10%, but if you pick a fire type move and hit yourself instead, the charcoal will also make you take more confusion damage. So confusion damage is treated as typeless for the most part, but when it comes to held items, it matches whatever move you intend to use.
In Gens 3 and 4, confusion damage is boosted by the Silk Scarf, the normal type boosting item that replaced the Pink Bow. This time around, the move you choose has no bearing on how much damage you take when you hit yourself. It's always treated as a normal type move as far as held items are concerned, and typeless in every other way. In Gen 5 onwards, confusion damage acts typelessly through and through. There's a bunch of other weird stuff that affects confusion damage, but that's beyond the scope of today's video.
As we've demonstrated today, the concept of typeless damage has always been pretty fuzzy, much like these dice. Sometimes the moves are treated as having a type for the sake of certain mechanics, and sometimes they're not. Every move does have a type listed in the game's code, but they don't always follow the rules of said type. The moves that can deal typeless damage are pretty unusual in general, so it makes sense that they don't have consistent rules. Testing. Okay, it's working. Let's go.
I just want you all to know that, from now on, Elias is gonna be recording, the Pokemon Showdown footage for the channel.
I'm gonna be recording some of it.
Yeah. He gave a Groudon the wonderful held item of an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, and it also knows Splash. Look, I only know a few Japanese words, okay? Okay, look at this. PRZYP, like hamburger in Chinese is hanbao. Pero no siempre siguen las reglas del dicho tipo. You know, my Spanish has not deteriorated that much.
that was not bad. Wait, why do the sword Pokemon have genders?
They gotta reproduce somehow.
Do they though?
I don't know.
Welp, that's all we got for today. Leave a comment about Scovillain. For more clips like the one you just saw, you can become a channel member to watch our ongoing Let's Play of Pokemon X. And as always, shout out to our existing members: Gavin Eric, Akruda, Starkid Phil, 2D Sonic, Lord Matthew, Summon Sloth, Skintist, Catalia, Brew the Magic Coffee, Measles, JVGL, Victor Manzo, Saphira, Shard the Reladon, Kai the Memer, and Elias. We'll see you all next time. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.